The summer air was cool on the hilltop, as an old man stood quietly, facing the stone towers one last time. The castle rose above the fog like something unreal, its pale walls catching the morning light, its shadows stretching across the terraces. His body had grown weak with age, but his gaze was steady, fixed on the dream he had spent a lifetime chasing. Cars waited behind him, engines idling softly, drivers avoiding his eyes. This was not a departure meant for witnesses. For decades, this hill had been his kingdom. Every tower, every courtyard, every marble floor carried his fingerprints. Yet now, in the twilight of his life, the place felt strangely distant, less like a home, and more like a memory frozen in stone. As he turned away, there was no ceremony, no grand farewell, only silence and the sound of gravel beneath the tires as the convoy began its slow descent. That man was William Randolph Hearst. Once feared, once admired, once powerful beyond measure, he had shaped public opinion, influenced politics, and built an empire of ink and ambition. But the castle behind him was different. It was not built to control others, it was built to satisfy something deep inside himself, to understand why this moment mattered, why leaving this hill felt like losing a part of his soul. We must go back, not to his rise to power, but to the moment when the idea of a castle first entered the mind of a boy who believed dreams could be built with stone. William Randolph Hearst entered the world at a moment of transformation. Born in San Francisco during America's age of expansion, he grew up surrounded by stories of fortune and risk. His father rose from modest beginnings into immense wealth, proving that persistence and luck could reshape destiny. But money alone was not what shaped young William's imagination. That role belonged to his mother. Cultured and curious, she believed beauty was essential to understanding the world. When William was still a child, she took him on a long journey across Europe, not as a tourist, but as a student of history and grandeur. They walked through ancient cities where power had once ruled from stone halls and vaulted ceilings. Towers loomed above him. Palaces whispered of empires that had come and gone. Those buildings left a mark. They weren't just structures, they were symbols of permanence. In a world that changed quickly, castles promised endurance. They told stories long after their builders were gone. When the boy returned to America, California felt young and unfinished by comparison. Yet inside him, something had shifted. He carried memories of marble staircases and echoing corridors, of landscapes shaped not just by nature, but by ambition. Without realizing it, William had learned a dangerous lesson early in life. Power could fade, but monuments could make a man feel eternal. Even as a child, William was not content with ordinary things. He collected objects the way others collected trophies, stamps, coins, artwork, books, anything that carried history or meaning. To him, ownership was not just possession, it was connection. Each item felt like a piece of something larger, something lasting. At school, his personality clashed with structure. He was clever but restless, more interested in spectacle than discipline. At university, he gained a reputation for bold humor and rebellion, pushing boundaries simply to see how far they would bend. Rules, to him, were obstacles, not limits. What emerged was a pattern that would follow him throughout his life. He didn't seek balance. He sought intensity. If something was worth having, it was worth having in excess. That mindset didn't disappear with age. It evolved. Collecting became more than a hobby. It became a way to control uncertainty. In surrounding himself with objects of beauty and history, William felt anchored, safe, important. Yet beneath that confidence lived a quiet fear that without constant expansion, without something tangible to prove his worth, everything he built could slip away. That fear would later drive him to create something so vast, so overwhelming, that it could not be ignored or forgotten. When William took control of a struggling newspaper, few expected greatness. The paper was weak, the audience small, and the business unremarkable. But William saw something others missed. He understood that information was not just about facts, it was about emotion. He reshaped journalism into spectacle. Stories became louder. Headlines became sharper. Every page was designed to provoke feeling, fear, outrage, curiosity, excitement. Readers didn't just consume the news, they reacted to it. Circulation surged. Success fed ambition. One paper became many. Cities fell under his influence as his publications spread across the country. With every expansion, his voice grew louder, his reach wider. Politicians noticed, rivals feared him, money followed, but money was never the end goal. What William truly discovered was influence, the ability to shape conversation, to guide public attention, to feel indispensable. Yet even as his empire expanded, something remained missing. Power satisfied the ego, but it didn't silence the old longing planted in childhood, the desire to build something that could outlast headlines and fortunes alike. In the nation's largest media market, William found his true battlefield. Rival publishers clashed daily, not with weapons, but with words. Each edition competed to be more shocking than the last. Exaggeration blurred into invention. Truth became flexible. Critics condemned this new style, but readers devoured it. The louder the paper, the more it sold, and William thrived in the chaos. He didn't merely report history, he bent it to his will. With success came controversy. His publications were accused of stirring conflict, manipulating emotion, and valuing sensation over accuracy. But William didn't retreat. He leaned in. He believed influence justified excess, that shaping events was more powerful than observing them. Still, as his empire reached its peak, the same question followed him quietly. When the papers stopped printing, what would remain? At the height of his power, William encountered something unexpected: affection that felt genuine. The woman who entered his life brought warmth where control once ruled. She was not drawn to his authority, but to the man behind it. Their relationship defied convention and fueled gossip, yet it grounded him. For the first time, his ambitions were not entirely external. He wanted to build a world that could protect love, not just power. But love alone could not quiet his deeper hunger. He wanted legacy, something solid, undeniable, permanent, a place that could hold both his dreams and his contradictions. The castle was no longer an idea, it was becoming a necessity. When the land came into his possession, William recognized it instantly. The hill overlooking the ocean was wild, remote, untouched, a blank canvas worthy of his dream. He reached out to an architect, known not for extravagance, but for discipline and resilience. She understood structure the way he understood vision. Where he imagined, she engineered. Where he demanded, she calculated. What began as a modest plan quickly grew into something monumental. Roads were carved into cliffs. Water and power were hauled uphill. Nothing about the project was simple, and that was precisely why it mattered. Together, dream and discipline took shape. Construction stretched into years, then decades. Plans changed constantly. New ideas arrived faster than old ones could be completed. Artifacts crossed oceans to reach the hilltop. Towers rose. Courtyards expanded. Pools shimmered. The estate became a living organism, never finished, always growing. Guests arrived in awe. Workers labored endlessly. The castle wasn't just built, it consumed. At its height, the hilltop became a world apart. Celebrities, politicians, and artists gathered beneath its towers. Rules governed every hour. Luxury mixed with discipline. Yet beneath the splendor, cracks formed. Dependency, loneliness, excess, perfection demanded a price. When money faded, the dream froze. Construction stopped, power slipped away. The castle stood unfinished, magnificent, but quiet. Years later, it would open to the public. Transformed from private obsession into shared history. Visitors would walk its halls, sensing both wonder and melancholy. The dream endured, not because it was perfect, but because it was human.